All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Coffee Tea, You and Me. I have got a special guest for you all today who I know you're going to love getting a chance to enjoy. And she's coming back from a hiatus. She hasn't been with us for a while, but it's always good to have Miss Pamela Colton on board with us and available to share some of our ideas and thoughts. Let me get rid of some of this noise in the background and we'll get this party started. Again, thanks everyone for coming to Coffee Tea, You and Me. You all know this is a business friendly environment. We try to create space and create opportunities for entrepreneurs and business leaders, not just to learn, but to also share what they have to offer and what's going on for them. Every once in a while, I get lucky and I'll have a guest presenter or two to come on with me and share some ideas and concepts. And today's no different. As I already indicated earlier, I have the beautiful Miss Pamela Colton in backstage, and she's chomping to get on board and share with you all. She has to leave early, so I want to make sure she gets an opportunity to get to play with you guys as soon as possible. So we're gonna dispense with the formalities of all learning how to share and transfer and all the thumbs up and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna assume you all know how to do that. This is a business-friendly environment, so if you have something that you want to share, make sure you put it in the chat. Make sure you put your information in the chat. Make sure you put your where your cities you're calling from, any questions that you're going to have in the chat. Today, just to give you a hint, we're going to be talking about respect, affection, and praise, and we're going to continue the series we're already in. That we're talking about that. The reason why you need to understand that, the reason why you need to know that, is because you get the opportunity through these three key solid principles to make sure that your workplace is a place where people enjoy being around you, people enjoy being connected to you, people enjoy the process of growing and moving forward with you. If you do this right, then you're going to get all the benefits that we talked about earlier and earlier editions, so that you can really grow your practice, really grow everything you need to grow in order to be successful as an entrepreneur or business leader. But today specifically, we're talking about the 5 core business principles that go along with professional respect in the workplace today. And the reason why we're doing that is not so that we're trying to preach to anybody. We're trying to help you understand where our mindset that we currently use in business today, where that comes from and how that's been applied over the centuries. That, from the earliest of human writing and development, how we've used these biblical principles over the centuries. So it's very important that you understand that, because next week we're going to talk about the neurological benefits, the neurological benefits. How does your mind work when you are operating from a place of professional respect? And how do you focus on that? And then after later weeks, we're going to get into affection. We're going to get into praise. We'll discover all these things all over again in different ways. But it's important to have these discussions and talk through them and begin to ask yourself the question, what have you learned from your past endeavors, and how have you used these positively to increase your mission, your passion, the strategy that you might use to progress your business and all that kind of good stuff. But today, right now, I'm going to introduce real quickly. I'm going to allow Miss Pamela Colton to come on and introduce herself. I promise you, she's a wildfire, and really super smart and super engaging, and you're going to love spending time and holding space for her. So here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, Miss Pamela Colton. Miss Pamela, how are you today?
Hello, Coach Marvin. I'm doing absolutely wonderful, and thank you for having me back again. I do appreciate being on stage with you.
Fantastic. Tell us all about yourself, Pamela, and some of the things you're getting into right now.
Okay, I'm Pamela, born and raised in London, England, residing in Atlanta. My business is OxyPam. We specialize in lightweight oxygen concentrators for people with lung disease, lung cancer, COPD, and post-COVID-19. We are a SBA Woman Owned Small Business Certified and DBA F. Certified, and medical grade oxygen. And this is how it looks. It's a portable oxygen concentrator, 4.7 pounds, 8 hours for the small battery lifestyle, and 16 hours for the larger double battery. So I'm great to be here. I am looking to be in the government contractors. I'm looking for procurements, anyone in that arena that would utilize the oxygen concentrators for these patients. Thank you.
Fantastic. Pamela, do me a favor and remind me to introduce you to a friend of mine who owns her own senior care center. And
Wow.
I've forgotten, thank you for the introduction again. I've forgotten to make that introduction to you earlier. And I want to make sure I do that because you two would just get along famously and find ways to interact and engage in a way that I think that you would definitely enjoy. I'm gonna put you backstage for a second, Pamela, and I'm gonna get into the topic, and then we're gonna chop it up a little bit before you have to leave. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. As I said today, earlier, I only invite the best to come on and co-present with me and discuss on stage with me. But if you know somebody who you think you are really, really excited about, and you want them to have the opportunity to be one of our guest presenters, they have to be people who are committed to small women and minority-owned businesses. And so if they're that kind of person, then definitely let them know about me. Please share that opportunity with them, and we'll see if we can't get some more guest coaches in future series that we deal with. Okay, today's topic, really simple. We all know that there are certain biblical principles that undergird our entire society, especially those Western societies, right? So you're talking about the US and the UK, right? These principles, these ideas, these concepts find their way into our legal systems. They find their way into how we interact with each other. They find their way into everything that we do. In fact, you'd be surprised how many times, you could look at maybe if you were in the military or if you know people who are military adjacent, or if you were in the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or any type of civic organization or any type of a fraternal or sorority type of organization, you'll find that the principles that you're going to hear or we're going to talk about today might be familiar to you. They're definitely going to be familiar with you if you went to Catholic combat duty or you went to Sunday school, right? Even if you studied the Torah, right? You're going to find that these principles are familiar to you. What may not be familiar to you is how you would apply them in today's business thought process and organization and philosophy. And that's what we want to talk about today. All right. So here is before I give you the 5 teachings on respect and affection in the workplace, right? I want to share with you a couple of benefits that you can look forward to if you get these practices and you understand them and you develop plans to develop them and create more opportunities with them in your business. Here's the things that you're going to be able to benefit from. First of all, you're going to be in a benefit from increased trust. How does that affect you as an entrepreneur, as a business leader? You want your investors, you want your suppliers, you want your referral sources, you want your lead clients, you want them all to have a tremendous amount of trust in your offerings and what you say, how you do what you do, your process, your systems. You want them to be able to trust you in every possible way so that they feel comfortable showing up for you. They feel comfortable supporting you. They feel comfortable, purchasing from you. They feel comfortable sharing you with other people and so on and so forth. So you increasing understanding all 5 of these biblical principles that I'm going to talk to you about later is important because they will help you increase trust amongst the people that you get to work with. Number 2, you're going to have better communication. If you understand these 5 principles, I promise you, I don't care if it's a venture capital relationship. I don't care if it's an angel investor. I don't care if it's a referral source or whatever you're looking for to help support you need to have. You're going to be able to effectively communicate with them so much better if you get these core principles down. Number 3, if you understand the core principles, the team that you get the chance to develop, whether that's a team of your people or joint venture partnerships, collaborative opportunities you might get with other people, you're going to have enhanced teamwork. You're going to feel like things are working better. People around you are going to feel like things are working better. And you're going to create environments where people get to thrive, which is a beautiful thing. And you're also going to be able to reduce the tension, the conflict, anything that divides, anything that generates any level of misjudgment, misalignment, scope creep, all those things are dramatically reduced when you practice the principles that we're going to share with you later. And last but not least, job satisfaction. People who work with you, people who work around you, people who get a chance to experience you will be a lot more satisfied. Now, this is key because American business, as we do it and as we go about doing things, have not always been something that we have focused on. The satisfaction, the joy, is not something that we've all at all been focused on in the past. There are times when we have done that, and the things have been really wonderful. But in reality, today, it's profit. Profit is the king, and how we function. And I'm suggesting to you, if we add these 5 principles back into how we do things and we practice them well, we're going to experience an overwhelming sense of satisfaction with what we get to do, what we're honored and capable of doing every day in the workplace. Okay, so let's get started. Benefit number 1, or biblical teaching number 1. I love this one, and it's super important. For those of you all who went to Sunday school, you're going to know it too. It's the golden rule. The golden rule says, do unto others as you would have them do to you. Let me repeat. Do to others what you would have them do to you. This is from Luke 6:31. All right. This verse literally encourages us to practice empathy and fairness, all of which are essential for mutual respect in any setting. Now, I talked to you earlier about what respect was, right? Respect is being able to honor or adore someone for something specific that they have done that you've noticed, witnessed, or understood, right? If they haven't done anything, you haven't witnessed anything, it's literally impossible for you to show them the kind of respect that creates this reciprocity, right? So it's important. If you want people to respect you, you have to respect them. This is the law of reciprocity going forward, right? So what do you honor in yourself? What do you adore about yourself in your workplace and what you do? And how does that radiate outward to other people so they can see not only how you love yourself, but how you want to love them? That's important because you are setting a foundation with every action that you take based on your level of respect for yourself. Now, the second principle drives this home even further. It's love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew chapter 22, book 30, verse 39. Right? Treating others with love and respect builds a positive work environment. When you ask somebody how they're doing or what's going on with them or what's happening, make sure that you're genuine. Make sure you genuinely care about them enough to truly engage in the question. Make sure that you're doing those things that show them that you actually care about them as a person, not just a work unit, not just a person that like a cog in the system. Make sure that they understand that they are special to you. They matter to you. Their thoughts, their feelings, their opinions matter. You can do this with your colleagues. You can do this with your friends. You can do this with your investors. You can do this with everybody. What's most important, though, about it is they have that feeling that you are sharing with them the kind of love that you may only reserve for yourself. Now, this is a tricky thing because a lot of us have problems with self-love, right? You don't have that ability. We haven't worked on ourselves enough to really have developed that self-respect for ourselves, right? We haven't really looked at ourselves and asked ourselves the question: what do I bring to the table that's unique, that's special? What is my mission? What is the value proposition that I offer to all of the people that I get a chance to work with? And then what are the specific value propositions I offer to the specific people I get to work with, my investors? It's a different value proposition than I would offer to my friends and associates, which is a different value proposition that I might offer to my referral sources or other supporters. Super important that you understand the value proposition in every role and everything that you play 360 degrees around. You have to really understand that and really love that about yourself and that your ability is to pull that together, whatever systems you've created, whatever strategies you've created. Because if you don't do that, it's important. It's you cannot love your neighbor as you love yourself when you don't love yourself originally, right? So it's super, super important that you get that, right? Those first two principles, golden rule, and then love your neighbor. The next one, number 3, is honor one another. Honor what Romans chapter 12, verse 10 says, honor one another above yourselves. Let me repeat that. Honor one another above yourselves. What would happen if you figured out a way to successfully engage and do that? What would happen if you figured out a way to make sure that the people around you felt like they were honored, they were cared for, they were respected, they were adored even? And you spent more time and effort showing them how much they meant to you versus you showing up as the person who deserves to be honored and respected, right? Now, I'm not saying that you don't deserve to be honored and respected, but I am saying the law of reciprocity will kick in. And what will happen if you become that catalyst for honoring others above yourselves? What's going to happen is you're going to create a collaborative and supportive workplace. You're going to create a collaborative and supportive environment. People are going to love playing with you. They're going to love being around you because what they get from you is your willingness to serve their needs, is your willingness to help them feel good about their contribution and what they're bringing to the table. And by the way, everybody's usually trying to contribute something. It may not be all that you like or all that you want, but it is the something that they contribute that if you figure out how to edify them, if you figure out how to um, put that spotlight on that special gift, that special that they bring to the table, it can't be fake, right? It has to be real, it has to be genuine, it has to be authentic. But if you're able to do this, then with everyone, not just a select few that you get to work with or that you have in your world, and it has to be everyone, right? It creates a positive and supportive collaborative space for people to shine, for people to grow. People feel safe and they'll give you their best, give you their best ideas, they give you their best work, and they will be honest with you when things are wrong and they're not able to give their best for whatever reason, because they know that you're going to understand, right? You're going to create and generate a level of thought about that's going to be meaningful to them, right? Number 4, none of that works if you can't speak truthfully, right? If you can't focus on being open and honest in your communication efforts. Now, this is from Ephesians, right? Each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor. Each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, right? This is not a recipe to tell everybody what you think whenever you think it. And I think a lot of times people think, well, I'm being honest. I'm being frank and I'm being honest, right? And that's true. We're not saying don't be frank and don't be honest, but we are saying there is a time where the truth that you want to share, the truth that you want to reveal makes sense for you to share and for you to reveal. And there's a time when it doesn't make sense. All right. And it doesn't make sense in rule number 5, which is be compassionate. Again, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another. Right? Just because you're speaking truth doesn't mean you're being kind and compassionate. And so it's important that you learn how to speak the kind and compassionate truth to one another. You have to have a level of understanding, even if you're giving somebody bad news or you're sharing something that is vitally important to share. What you don't want to try to do is create conflict. right? If you get this open and honest communication stuff really well, it's going to foster trust and respect, not just with you, but among all your colleagues. If you get this compassionate piece down, then that's going to help you to improve your team morale and to build stronger professional relationships. Now, there are 1,000 questions that I could ask you, but I want to make sure I give some time to my guest coach before we log off. Is there anything, Miss Pamela, that we talked about today that really resonates with you and that you want to think through or help other people think through?
Absolutely. I love this topic. I wasn't sure what you were going to speak about, but I'm the positive, happy person, and I like to treat people how I would like to be treated. And I love everything you said. And with respect, I was told the English language is the number one trusted language in the world. I looked it up and I was like, okay, I have to honor my heritage. So I'm really happy you mentioned that. And also about, I always say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should be an ear to people. All of my friends, they come to me no matter what's going on. It could be sad, it could be drastic in what's going on in their lives. They come to me in confidence. I listen to them, I sit down with them, and I hear them out. And there's always a good solution, or just knowing that they have access to me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I love everything you're saying, and everyone should have been brought up with the notion that respect comes above everything. And that's very truthful for me. I've taught that to my children when they were growing up. And I think it's great in the business arena also. And like you say, you should love your neighbor. You should even in business, people should be able to come approach you and speak to you about anything they have. You need to think before you give an answer. Just because you may be truthful, if someone didn't ask for your opinion, I think you should hold it back, because I've seen people do that all the time. I'm going to tell them about ABCD. I'm like, in your business role, I think you should honor them with your profession. If they ask what you think, then you could tread lightly and tell them how you feel. So I feel this is a very good lesson that people need to be reminded of on a day-to-day basis, that how would you like to receive information? And lots of people, they're coming from a very nice place, but I have got high energy. I don't allow negativity. I don't allow naysayers. I am very protective of my circle. And I think not everyone should have a seat at your table, especially if they're not positive. And personal growth is very important. And mentors. I have invested in my personal growth to think of others in the way you have been teaching today. And it's always great because I like to network, and I like to go to networking event, because when you're in front of people, people either like you or they don't. And I love being around people. With my personal growth, I call myself, I'm Pamela Coulton. I call myself Pamela Elaine Coulton 2.0. 2.0. That's the happy Pam. So that's why I always use my middle name, because I have elevated in being that person that people want to work with, want to and recommend you with their core network. That's very important, because I'm in arenas and networking, and people say, I would love to introduce you. Like you said today, right? If you didn't know someone's spirit or trust them, you wouldn't recommend your core group or a recommendation. And that's very important to me, especially now I want to get into the government contracting arena, for people to recommend you and your good faith. And birds of a feather stick together. So I definitely say positivity and happiness is my core group.
I would, and that's so important. I think people take it for granted
Yes.
so much that we gloss over it. And I try to remind people, if you take these five key principles and you practice them on purpose, start with yourself first. What is it that you love about you? And let that radiate outward to other people. Other people are going to see it if you truly are plugged into it. They're going to ask you, oh my God, you're so happy, you're so upbeat, you're so joyful. What's going on with you? Tell me. And then you get to tell them. because they ask you, right? You get to tell them, oh my God, this wonderful thing just happened to me. Oh my, this is, I noticed this, if whatever you're grateful for, whatever you get to share, because they can see it in you. They can just see that spark, that spirit, that kindness, that joy, that happiness that just flows from you. And when you get to talk about it, it becomes so real because it's not like fake or disingenuous, right? It's real and it's tangible, and people feel good about working with people who make them feel good.
That is so correct. And it's funny you say that because I have my best friends, they call me every day. They're like, Pam, you're just so happy. I just need your energy today. And I've always got something funny and great always happens every
Right,
day because I expect it.
right.
And you have got to learn how to love yourself because I know
Yes,
I'm full of myself. I love myself, but you have got to look in the mirror every day and show kindness to yourself. Be grateful, tell yourself all the nice things that others may tell you, but you should be able to tell yourself and believe it and go out in the world every day with that big smile because yes, you may be full of yourself, but you've got that great big smile and everybody wants a slice of it. I
that's,
actually been
you're absolutely right.
teaching people happiness. There's people who has come to me and said, no matter what you're going through, you always show happiness, but it's something I've taught myself to do. And I've taught individuals my happiness university, which they went from a 2 to a 10 in 5 days. Happiness, just from what I've taught them, because a lot of people are in their head and they're listening to that bad voice. I say, you tell that ego of you to go sit down in the corner and have a snap. You've got this. It's all about what you want today. And they laugh, but it works. You've got to find ways to make yourself be happy and be genuine. And that's what I do
Right.
on a daily basis. Amen.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Um, just to give you a classic example, and I'm gonna let you go. I had a client talk to me, ask me earlier. I mean, it's been a rough week for like half the country,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Right now. Like, so I had a client ask me earlier, well, how are you feeling? And I said, everything is perfect, everything is wonderful, without thinking,
Yes.
because I'm so used to purposefully being positive,
That's right.
that my natural go-to is to always be positive. And I recognize it. And I said, you know what? I got to take that back,
Mm,
because in reality, my true feelings are, I'm very disappointed in my country right now. I'm very disappointed in how things are going, and I'm worried about the future. And that is on my mind right now. But my practice is to not let those environmental things that I can't control how I show up in the spaces that I'm in. And so I really, really, have to apologize for saying what I said earlier, but I still mean it. I still mean that, things are looking up. I'm happy. Everything is going, because I know that I can't function outside in that negative space. I can't function in negative space, nor that I want to promote it. I know you got to go,
No,
so I'm
I'm
gonna let you go.
okay, but I went through the same thing you went through because I was with a group of people. I forgot all about everything. I like, but what about? And I'm like, let's have a powwow and talk about it. Just a few
Right,
seconds, get it out of our system. Had the
right.
powwow, felt better. Made candles because I'm a candle maker now for my birthday. Made candles. Everybody got gifts. So you can get bad news, but it's how you receive it, and you're not going to make it. You could be sad, but you've got to pick yourself up fast. I
Yes,
agree with that.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And I was like, oh man, for a minute there, I asked myself the question, are you being genuine? And I realized that, yeah, I am still being genuine because it is my natural reaction. It is my natural go-to place. You
Yes.
know, it's not that I'm denying the sadness or ignoring the sadness, but I'm also embracing the gratitude. And this is what I try to help people understand, that if you get used to learning how, I mean, yes, you can do gratitude journals, but learning how to embrace gratitude in every moment that you get to live on this planet, finding something to be happy about all the time will keep you in that happy space, will keep you
Yes.
there. Not waiting to the end of the day for your
Mhm.
gratitude. Just right now, and every moment you get breathing right now. Like right now, I got this nice fan blowing on me, and it's beautiful. I'm wearing my beautiful African print. I'm
I
feeling
love
good
it.
about myself, right? I'm feeling good about my culture and where I come from, and I'm feeling good about I'm feeling good about having you on the show.
Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you.
and
Yeah.
so what is there to be sad about? Right now in this particular moment is all joy, right? And
All
so I
joy.
think we have to learn how to do that and experience that, but we practice it from those old biblical teachings, those old things that we learned. Grandma taught you. You might learn in Sunday school. You might learn, wherever you got them from, in Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or wherever you got them from. They're all there. They've all been a part of our world, but we tend to ignore them because we let tragedy and we let other things supersede those thought processes. And I think when we get back to those things, then and we focus on those things and we let it radiate from inside out, then we're going to do much better. I'm gonna let you go,
I have
Pamela.
one thing to say. What you're
Go ahead.
saying about I journal every single day and I put out what I want the following day. I am thankful for, I write down showing gratitude and appreciation every day just for life, little tiny things. I had a lobster invitation for dinner. I had, I was treated to something. I itemize it and it's a ritual. I have a whole plethora of books over there, journals that I do every single day, and I just write what I see happening for me, and I'm very positive. I do my affirmations. When I say I want something, even if I don't journal and I'm thinking it, it still happens. Greatness always
Absolutely.
happens. Is what you
Right.
believe in and see yourself doing and achieving. So I really appreciate you. I'm glad I'm a guest again. You're like one of my favorite persons in the whole world. So anytime you need me, I'm always here for you, Coach Marvin.
Thank you so very much, Pamela. You enjoy your Zoom call, and
I
hopefully,
will.
if you get rid of those people and you want to come back on before we end, come on back on.
I will. I'll leave these as it is and I'll go and speak to the person. I was networking and they're available to speak to me, but that's how it is. One hand watches another, and then you go on a Zoom, and that's where big business is made in partnerships. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you.
You
I
go
so
handle that.
appreciate you. Have a great day on purpose. Appreciate you a
All
lot.
righty. Thank you very much. See what I'm saying, guys? It is so important that you figure out a way to embrace the respect that you have first for yourself and then for other people. You have to learn to look at people as opportunities to show respect. People that you get a chance to work with, people that get a chance to invest in you, people that you endorse. All these people are incredibly important to your process of becoming the catalyst for joy and thriving and respecting the environments that you get to play in. And it's super, super important. And I got a couple questions I want to ask you. And these are all rhetorical questions. You don't have to ask them. You don't have to answer them in the chat or anything. I mean, you can if you want to. But I want you to think about it. And I'm going to repeat them again. Number one is the golden rule. Number two is love your neighbor. Number three is honor one another. Number four is speak truthfully. Number five is be compassionate. These five key biblical things. Very, very personal, very, very personal for everybody you get a chance to interact with. But if you follow all five, and you can't let one of these go, right? They all work together, and you can't do one without the other, because the expectation is if you do one, other people they're going to be expecting all the other stuff to come along with it. And if you can't hold it up because you haven't thought it through, you haven't written it down, what you're going to do, then I suggest that you think about the questions that I'm going to pose to you right now. I know for a fact that whenever I have taken the time to consider and show patience and understanding to all of the stakeholders that I have in my life, those relationships have become much stronger. So what I'm going to ask you to do is think about right now, how do you show empathy and understanding to your teammates, to your referral sources, to your loved ones? How do you show empathy and understanding? How do you demonstrate to them that you get them, that you understand their feelings, you understand their thoughts, their ideas and concepts? How do you do that? Think about it. Go off and journal and write about that. Here's another question for you. Do those people, do they know how much you really care about them? Do they know how much you really appreciate them? Because I promise you, if you're demonstrating empathy and understanding all the time to them, then they pretty much get a they begin to know and understand how much you mean to them, how much that you care about them. Right? Now, the next question we would ask, what would they say about you when it comes to being thoughtful and kind? Where would they say that you show up? And if you haven't gotten feedback from your loved ones or your referral sources or your investors or your key clients or your stakeholders of any type, just start to ask them, you know, where do you see me and how do you see me interacting in a way that you would say is thoughtful and kind? And the last question you might want to ask yourself as you begin to discover how you reflect and show professional respect, what can you do better of all those areas? Is it the golden rule? Is it love your neighbor? Is it honor one another? Is it speak truthfully? And most importantly, is it be compassionate? I promise you, if you get these things, if you understand these things, you work through them, you begin to, reflect on them, um, you're going to accomplish amazing things with other people. All right. It's going to make you better. You're going to be a harbinger of harmony, productivity. You're going to create more fulfilling environment around you everywhere you go. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have your challenges, right? And I think people put it down a lot, some of these teachings, because it's kind of hard to measure. It's not easy to manufacture. You simply have to be a respectful person. You have to respect yourself and respect others, and you have to do exceptionally well at that. When you do that, then you can create the environment around you that you want to create. Again, like always, any questions that you have, put them in the chat. Anything that you want to share, your business is doing, whether it's an event you're going to, or information that you want somebody to have about what you do, your website or whatever that is, put that information in the chat. People are going to see it on Facebook. They're going to see it on LinkedIn. They're going to see it on YouTube, depending on where they're watching from. And don't keep Coach Powell a secret. Make sure you tell your friends, your family, everybody else that you get a chance to work with and be around, that there is a new way of doing things, a new way of creating energy, of creating trust, creating relationships, and evaluating the real productivity. And here's the way that happens. Thank you all for your time and attention. I had a great time. I hope you did as well. It's Coach Powell signing off. Thanks again for Pamela, who came on and shared with us today earlier. And I really appreciate you, Pamela. I know you're busy doing your other thing, but God bless you. And I wish the best for you always. Next week, we're going to talk about, oh, by the way, next week, we're going to get into the neurological aspects of professional respect and how it really, truly affects your brain and the brain of others. When you receive it, when you give it, when you share it appropriately, you're going to love next week's conversation. So feel free to download the free training guide, which I posted on the chat already. I think I'm going to repost it if I can. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah, I reposted that in the chat, so you should be able to see that. I'm going to repost it even on LinkedIn, so you can see that as well. And I hope you guys, again, had a great time. I know I did, and we're going to keep this party going over and over again. And I wish you nothing but abundance and joy as you go about improving yourself and your business. Again, God bless you. Good night.